They looked at him like he didn't belong, like his very presence was a crime. But what they didn't know? He held the truth that would change everything. Stay until the end. This is a story they never expected to be revealed. Don't forget to subscribe. Your support is what will help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. The conference room smelled of polished wood, stale coffee, and arrogance. Sunlight streamed through tall blinds, slicing across the sleek floor in sharp lines. But it couldn't warm the icy glare that followed every step. Badmus Ellis took into the room. Badmus, 29, black, brilliant beyond measure, carried himself with quiet confidence. But to the 5 executives, staring down at him from their leather chairs, he was nothing more than a mistake in their schedule. A name on a resume they'd already decided to dismiss. So Mr. Ellis, the tallest of the group, a man whose gray suit seemed stitched from entitlement itself, began with a patronizing smile. Tell us why you think you're qualified for this position. You do realize you're competing against candidates from Ivy League schools? Badmus's jaw tightened. The words weren't just dismissive. They were venom, wrapped in polite syllables. He had studied every detail of the company, every challenge it faced, every opportunity that could transform it. He had prepared for this moment for months. Yet here he was, already being underestimated because of the color of his skin. He took a slow breath and smiled, calm and deliberate, letting the silence grow uncomfortable. I do, he said evenly. And I also understand that real-world results don't always come from the schools you mention, but from the ideas you can't imagine. A nervous chuckle ran through the room, followed by a smirk from the man in gray. We like people who fit in, who follow the rules, not someone who breaks them? Badmus interrupted, his voice firm but controlled. Maybe, but only when breaking. The rules exposes the truth, everyone else is too afraid to see. He clicked a remote, and the projector flickered to life, illuminating the faces in the room with charts, figures, and evidence they had ignored or dismissed in the past months. Every financial anomaly, every inefficiency, every opportunity wasted was laid bare. And then came the proof they couldn't deny, a strategic plan Badmus had created. Innovative, detailed, and impossible to overlook. The room went silent. The smirks, the casual arrogance, the assumptions, they all evaporated like mist under the sun. The executives, once towering in their presumed authority, now shrank under the weight of reality. Badmus's intellect, insight, and dedication were undeniable. The power balance had shifted. You figured this out? Stammered the man in gray, his tone stripped of its former confidence. I did, Badmus said, his gaze steady, commanding, almost gentle in its justice. Not because I went to the right school, or because I look a certain way, or because someone told me I belonged. I figured it out because I worked harder than anyone else, and because I refused to let assumptions about me, about my race, my background, or my appearance define what I could do. For the first time in that room, the executives were quiet, not out of respect, but out of realization. Badmus's dignity, intelligence, and perseverance had forced the truth into their consciousness. The barriers they had built, the biases they had embraced, all crumbled under the weight of undeniable merit. Badmus leaned back slightly, the tension breaking like a snapped wire. I hope this isn't just a lesson for you about numbers and strategy, he said softly, almost kindly. I hope it's a lesson about the danger of judging people by what they look like rather than who they are. True potential doesn't always announce itself with a fancy degree. Sometimes it speaks quietly, behind closed doors, waiting for someone willing to listen. The executives shifted in their seats, humbled, chastened. Badmus had not only claimed the respect he deserved, he had reminded them that justice isn't about loud proclamations. It's about acknowledgement, fairness, and the courage to recognize truth when it stares you in the face. As he walked out of the room, the sunlight hit him again, this time warm and affirming. He didn't need their approval. He had already won. Not with anger, not with confrontation, but with excellence, persistence, and undeniable character. And as the door closed behind him, the room remained silent because justice had arrived, and it had arrived in the form of someone they had underestimated. If Badmus's story inspired you, hit that like button. Comment below what moments resonated with you. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that reveal the strength, dignity, and brilliance of those who rise above injustice. Share this video to remind others. Never underestimate someone based on appearance. True power lies in truth.